in the vast landscape of European history. Few comparisons are as striking and as misunderstood as the contrast between Imperial Germany of the early 20th century and Hitler's Nazi Germany of the 1930s and 40s. Although Hitler often claimed to be restoring German greatness, the truth is far more complicated. In many ways, Nazi Germany was significantly weaker militarily, diplomatically, economically, and even socially than the Germany ruled by Kaiser Wilhelm II. Today, we explore this dramatic contrast. Welcome to the Royal Era, and this is the full 35-minute deep dive into why Hitler's Germany, despite its terrifying image and destructive power, stood on far shakier foundations than the German Empire before it. Let's begin our journey by traveling back to the year 1871, the birth of the German Empire under Otto von Bismarck. This new empire was a rising industrial giant with a rapidly developing economy, profound scientific achievements, and one of the most efficient armies in the world. Now jump forward to the 1930s Hitler's Germany. Despite its propaganda of strength, much of its power was an illusion built on intimidation, coercion, and reckless ambition. Today, we will break down the major pillars that made Imperial Germany stronger and expose the weaknesses within the Nazi regime. First, the leadership and decision-making structure. Imperial Germany was governed through a semi-autocratic system, but it had structure. Policy decisions were debated among military leaders, ministers, and experienced diplomats. Bismarck, the empire's architect, was a master strategist, balancing alliances and avoiding reckless wars. Hitler's government, on the other hand, was built entirely around one man. His word was low, unquestioned, and unchallenged. Instead of fostering professional debate, Nazi Germany encouraged fanatic loyalty. Decisions were made based on ideology, emotions, or Hitler's personal fantasies rather than strategic logic. This dictatorship created chaos within the government. Ministers competed for Hitler's attention, giving rise to confusion and inefficiency. Imperial Germany had a disciplined bureaucracy, while Nazi Germany ran on fear and internal rivalry. Second, diplomacy and international standing. Under Bismarck and even Kaiser Wilhelm II, Germany maintained alliances. It had respect, sometimes fear, but genuine recognition as a great power. Imperial Germany had strong economic ties across Europe. It built networks with Austria-Hungary, Russia at times, Italy, and the Ottoman Empire. Its diplomats studied languages, cultures, and global politics. In contrast, Hitler's Germany isolated itself almost immediately. Germany withdrew from the League of Nations. It broke treaties. It bullied neighbors. Instead of alliances, it relied on fear. Italy was an unreliable partner. Japan's interests were in Asia, not Europe, and the Soviets' first temporary partners became mortal enemies. Overall, Imperial Germany played chess. Nazi Germany flipped the board. Third, military strength. Quality over propaganda. Imperial Germany's army was arguably the best-trained land force in the world. Before World War I, its officer corps was prestigious. Its training academies produced brilliant strategists like Schlieffen and Moll. Its navy, though smaller than Britain's, was technologically advanced. But Nazi Germany's military, while equipped with tanks, planes, and new weapons, was built too quickly. Training was rushed. Many soldiers had minimal combat preparation. Logistics were weak. Vehicles frequently broke down because Germany lacked raw materials. The famous Blitzkrieg looked powerful, but it was effective mainly because Germany attacked weakened or unprepared enemies early on. As the war dragged on, the Nazi military collapsed under its own ambition. Imperial Germany also had wartime weaknesses, but its military foundation was far more professional, disciplined, and sustainable. Fourth, economic foundations. Imperial Germany was an economic powerhouse. It led the world in chemicals, engineering, physics, and industrial machinery. German universities were centers of innovation. Nazi Germany, however, was drowning in debt. Massive rearmament programs overstretched the economy. Civilian production suffered. Germany lacked oil, rubber, and precious metals. Instead of strengthening the economy, Hitler depended on looting conquered territories. The empire was built to grow. The Nazi state was built to burn. Fifth, social structure and stability. Imperial Germany had issues: class divides, political tensions, and a powerful military elite, but society functioned. Education expanded, cities modernized, and scientific progress thrived. Nazi Germany, however, ruled by fear. Millions of people lived in terror. Jews, political opponents, academics, minorities, and anyone who questioned authority. Intellectuals fled. Scientists escaped to Britain and America, many contributing to the very forces that defeated Hitler. Where Imperial Germany fostered talent, Nazi Germany expelled it. Sixth, strategic vision versus ideological obsession. Imperial Germany's strategic goal was to secure its place among great powers. Hitler's strategic vision was driven by racial ideology. Instead of focusing on stability, diplomacy, or balanced expansion, he sought a vast empire in Eastern Europe. This obsession opened multiple fronts in the war, something Imperial Germany avoided for as long as possible. Nazi Germany fought the Soviet Union, Britain, the United States, and resistance movements across Europe, all at once. It was a recipe for collapse. Seventh, overconfidence and miscalculations. Imperial Germany made mistakes, especially under Kaiser Wilhelm II, but they were often rooted in misjudgment, not delusion. Hitler's decisions, however, were frequently irrational. He dismissed expert advice, overestimated Germany's power, underestimated the Allies, and gambled on impossible outcomes. One example, declaring war on the United States. Another, invading the Soviet Union before defeating Britain. These were not strategic decisions. They were ideological fantasies. Eighth, internal unity versus internal fragmentation. Imperial Germany had disagreements, but the state was unified. Nazi Germany was fractured internally. S versus party versus bureaucracy, ministries versus ministries. Each group tried to increase its own power. Instead of unity, the system thrived on competition. This was intentional. Hitler believed conflict made the system stronger. In reality, it weakened every level of the government. Imperial Germany believed in order. Nazi Germany believed in chaos. Ninth, scientific advancement. Imperial Germany produced world-changing advancements. Planck, Haber, Bosch. German pharmaceutical and engineering industries led the world. Nazi Germany persecuted Jewish scientists, censored academic freedom, and rejected ideas that didn't align with ideology. This cost them dearly. The brain drain was massive. The US and Britain benefited immensely. Where the empire embraced science, the Nazis suffocated it. 10th, global perception and legacy. Imperial Germany was seen as a strong, industrial, sophisticated nation. Even opponents respected it. Nazi Germany is remembered as a brutal dictatorship built on hatred and violence. Its downfall was swift, its foundations weak, and its actions morally catastrophic. In the end, Hitler's Germany destroyed itself. Conclusion: the illusion of power. To summarize, Hitler's Germany looked powerful: modern tanks, mass rallies, and aggressive expansion. But beneath the surface lay instability, poor planning, weak diplomacy, economic strain, and ideological madness. Imperial Germany, for all its flaws, had stronger institutions, better diplomacy, stronger science, a stable society, and a more professional military. Hitler promised greatness, but delivered ruin, and that is why the Nazi regime was ultimately far weaker than the German Empire. Thank you for watching the Royal Era. If you enjoy deep historical analysis, make sure to subscribe, like, and share. More powerful historical explorations are on the way.